Synthaholics. It's the Rock and Roll podcast.
Welcome to Synthaholics. This is your host, David Duncan, and with me is...
Aaron O'Brien.
And...
Holly Michelle.
Holly Michelle.
She's back.
It's been a while.
Yeah. What's the last one we did that? Enterprise? Is that the one we did together?
I think it's the last one we did together. The Borg one.
The Borg one, that's right.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
That's a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. I was actually thinking that we used my power strip that's my computer's hooked up to, and I've had my computer for a year. So it's
probably been about a year.
Well, it's been a year because we recorded over at the Ye Olde Geekiverse the same day.
Did we?
Yep. We recorded there.
And we came over here?
And then we came over here.
Wow. That's a long time ago.
I think we did a Nerds of the Round Table, which those don't happen very much anymore. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Well, welcome back. And we are talking about the House of Quark this episode.
This episode, woo! I know we've said we've got surprises lined up and guests and stuff.
We do, but the surprises are slow coming.
Things happen. Thanks for bearing with us. Last week was a very bad week.
Yes.
Life happens.
Life happens.
Life happened hard.
Yeah. Dave has been adulting hard.
Yes. Unpleasantly. So,
but we've got some cool different news, don't we?
We got news. We got two Discovery snippets. First, that Black Bolt from the Inhumans, the magnificent.
Your favorite Marvel series,
the magnificently terrible show, The Inhumans, which I reviewed on the Nerdynomicon channel, which Holly is a part of. You can watch it over there on their YouTube channel. Me and our friend Chris Chavez, we talked Inhumans, and we hated it. But Black Bolt himself...
Yeah, Anson Mount.
Anson Mount is playing Captain Christopher Pike. And he does have a very Jeffrey Hunter look to him.
He's got that lantern jaw, very,
I just hope he shaves, because Christopher Pike had a nice smooth face, and
yes,
every time I see Black Bolt, he's got lots of stubble.
Right, yes.
Hopefully he'll get his face waxed or something.
Yeah, so we got him, and that's cool. And nice to see we're going to get some traction on what's going to happen for the next season. Obviously we're going to get some Enterprise.
Like, as of the recording, as the recording of this episode, they're starting filming tomorrow. Doug Jones put out a video of himself on Facebook today shaving his head because he needs to start wearing the Saru prosthetics again.
Well, that guy, I mean, I know he makes an oodles of money, but he's always got some weird get-up, and he's a weird-looking guy, though, isn't he?
He is. He's tall and lanky.
But
he's got a strange face, too. He's not... Yeah, I think so.
I think I watched,
He's not... You
can see his face in the Guild, the season where they go to the con. He's one of the steampunk guys.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That Clara is in love with.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a very unique guy. He's got some very interesting He's older than I thought he was. I think he's in his 60s.
Really?
And I didn't realize he was that old. I thought he was like 40 something. I don't know. But yeah, he's older, and he shaved his head so he can get back into that Saru mullet.
Yeah, right, exactly.
He's smooth on the front and got the ganglia coming out the back.
Yeah.
We still don't know if those grow back because we're super curious about how those taste.
Exactly.
Oh, wait, Holly hasn't seen that yet. But,
that's okay. Mainly, I was just thinking about how ganglia is a fun word.
Ganglia.
They eat those in the Mirror Universe.
That sounds like something your grandmother gets when she's older. She's like, I've got the ganglia.
The gangreenlia.
But going along with Discovery, we also got some interesting information about the Enterprise.
So we saw the Enterprise at the end, and everyone complained about how it wasn't exactly the same. And apparently,
There's a reason for it.
There's legal reasons for it, although the 2 articles I read couldn't give me any of the actual legal reasons.
Clear as mud.
All they said was that there were legal reasons, and they started talking about how the J.J. Kelvin timeline films had to be different because they were from they were
Paramount.
split.
Yeah, Paramount. From so they couldn't reproduce the old version of the Enterprise.
Which that makes sense, but CBS owns the TV show, so why can't CBS reproduce something from the TV show they own? I don't understand why that is a thing.
So they said they pointed out when you were reading the article before we started the show that basically for legal reasons they have to put, what'd you say, 75% or 25% different?
It had to be 25% different from the original design.
Which is odd because, like you said, it is owned by CBS, but maybe there's other owners in the actual copyright or whatever you have for Enterprise.
Yeah, it's quite possible. Maybe the original owner, maybe the copyright is run out on that. Mm-hmm. Because it is 50 years.
Yeah.
It's 51 years old this year.
You know,
so maybe that copyright ran out. But they didn't. The article didn't specify specifically. They just said legal reasons, like in quotes, and then it had to be 25% different.
Yeah. Who knows? Legal reasons. I was going to say that every time people ask me questions, I can't really give a good answer to. Legal reasons.
Legal reasons. Absolutely. It's our go-to now.
Legal reasons. But yeah, so it's all
so
cool
we didn't put
stuff.
out an episode last week because of legal reasons.
Legal reasons. More than you know. Anyways, we are going on to Deep Space Nine, the House of Quark. And this is one of your favorites.
I love Quark episodes, and Holly wanted to talk about Quark, and I was like, "Oh, do you remember House of Quark?" And she's like, "No, I don't." And I'm like, well, "Then we should watch it. If you like Quark, I want to talk about Quark."
He's just a fun character.
He is a fun character, and the guy is a great armor shipment.
Yeah,
he's a great actor.
So great. And so is Max Grodenchak, his brother Rom.
Yeah. But House of Quark is season 3, episode 3, and it came out October 10th, 1994, many moons ago. So let's jump into it. So we start off. We have Quark and Rom are looking a little upset at the bar when
Our protagonists.
Protagonists. When Morn leaves with his girlfriend or soon-to-be girlfriend, and
because that's not his wife. Because we see his wife later.
Yes,
that's not his wife.
It's Morn, and
he's a player.
And Quark even makes the joke that, a rule of acquisition.
268 or something like that.
When Morn leaves the bar, you're in trouble or something like that. And Ron's like, that's not a thing.
Well, here it is.
Here it is. And then we find out there's one more customer left in the bar. And this is a Klingon who does not want to pay his bill.
He is unable to pay his bill.
Legal reasons. So he gets into a little argument with Quark. Quark tries to first get in his face, and then
he's like, "Oh, let's open a line of credit." And for some reason, that's insulting to him.
That's insulting? Yes.
Even though that's what he was asking for.
So what, do you want it for free? And then they get into a little scuffle, and unfortunately, this Klingon falls on his own dagger.
Yep.
And he dies.
He did. So much for those redundant organs.
Yeah. Well, maybe he had them pierced before. Pierced organs. I got my spleen pierced.
I got a hoop.
Yeah, it's the Klingon.
I got to hoop through it.
I got to hoop through my stomach. The food just flies right out. Next, we get Bashir is examining him and the Klingon.
I love how they brought in a gurney, and they're just like looking at him in the pub instead of like taking him to sickbay.
And even Rom says, "I wish they'd take him out of here."
Like they do have transporters. They could have just beamed him to try to save his life. But nope, we're gonna wait for the gurney.
Wait for the gurney.
I have a feeling they didn't call for medical assistance immediately.
No. He's dead.
Right? They just kind of were like,
he ain't gonna make it. Bashir's like, nah, this one, we're gonna call it.
They can save you from phaser wounds and near death, but like just one little blade, really?
Yeah.
Also though, if they brought a Klingon back to life, do you think they'd be very happy? Or
yes, right. Just leave him dead. Maybe it's like a Ginsu.
Don't take them from the gates of Stovacor.
That's right, Stovacor. We haven't listened to Stovacor in a while.
Stovacor.
Yeah. But so Quark makes this whole, he kind of blows this whole thing up. That this is where he is, if he pumps it up that he killed this Klingon in a fight, it'll be good for business. All these people are like, "Oh, this is it! I can't believe this happened." So they're going to all want to come and hear the story. Yeah, this Ferengi killed
Klingon. What?
Yeah. So, and his brother is like, "That's not a good idea. You shouldn't do that." And then Odo comes in asking about it, and Quark gets kind of beefy with Odo. It's like, if you're not going to buy anything, get out for a paying customer. And Odo's like, even if I eat, it just sits in my stomach until I just dump it out in my bucket. That's kind of weird. He's just drinking all that stuff. He doesn't really need any of that. He doesn't
need it.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
He just needs to go into his bucket to rest for a little while.
Yeah, I wish I had a bucket to rest in. Anyways.
You just want to turn to some Swiss cheese and melt?
Yeah, it'd be great. I'd love that. Get some good sleep. But Odo basically tells him that he's part of a large he's a head of a house.
Head of a Klingon
house. And that they're going to come asking questions about it, and you better be prepared. And, Quark seems like, whatever. Doesn't bother me. I can handle this.
And the next time we see Quark, he's just walking through a hallway, and he gets attacked by Dagor.
Yeah.
The brother.
The brother comes in asking how his brother died. And Dagor says he's brother and that he had to die honorably. And
if he didn't, then I will have to receive vengeance.
Yeah,
Quark's like, he totally died.
Terrible. Meanwhile, through all this, we have our B plot. Miles comes home and finds that Keiko has closed the school down.
Synthale, give me a large one. That's going to be a long night.
It's going to be a long night. I need that Synthale.
Well, you didn't know before you ordered the beer.
I know. He knew.
He knew.
Once he walked in, he knew.
I don't know. Her attitude was already just like so.
Yeah, she was sort of like she didn't care, but she cared.
Right.
And, Miles, being the doting husband, was like, oh, my God, that's terrible. He's like, I never wanted to be a teacher anyways. I just kind of took it as something to do, But since the Dominion War is kind of looming over everything.
All the Bajorans are pulling their kids out.
Yeah, everyone wants to leave.
They should have done that before they had the kids.
That's right. You should have pulled out before. 8 years before.
Don't tease me with children for the school. You should have pulled them out before.
Terrible.
It's been a bad week, guys. I'm sorry.
Anyways, so Miles feels bad, and he wants to do something to help her feel better.
It's the greatest wife in the universe day.
That's great. The galaxy. Was it universe or galaxy?
Galaxy.
Let's localize it a little bit.
The greatest wife in the Alpha Quadrant.
So he's going to take her to have a romantic dinner and do all these wonderful things.
Got home 5 minutes early. How was he expecting her to be out when the school was closed?
I was curious of that actually myself.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? Like, she's moping around because she's stuck in their room and she doesn't,
And if you're O'Brien, just like throw a tracing tracker bug on her,
He is the tech guy.
Yeah, I mean, come on. You don't do it all the time, but if you want to make sure you can get everything set.
Sure. I just don't understand why it takes so long when you have replicators, but whatever.
Or, yeah. Well, it's like anything. It's procrastination.
Probably.
They have like Netflix and the DS9. It's like I end up binge watching like 6 shows. I meant to do all this work like 3 hours ago.
Oops.
So he takes her, on a what's it called?
Holosuite
thing, and they have a wonderful time together. And their kid's not to be seen anywhere. We have no idea where the kid.
She's staying with the Robinsons
as usual,
or Bashir's just having fun watching the kid. Like, what do I do with a child? Here's my teddy bear. Don't touch it, but you can look at it.
Yes, you can look. That's it. Don't touch anything.
He loves his teddy bear.
He does love his teddy bear.
Can't remember his name.
I don't remember his name either. Anyways, we get the Klingon's widow shows up at Quark's bar, and she starts attacking Quark as well. And
Quark jumps behind the bar. grabs a platter. I'm like,
gets
"Don't
a
hurt
tray.
me."
Don't hurt me. Yeah. So she finds out that he's a coward and would be no match. And so that's when Quark kind of just brings out like what actually happened. And at this point, she knocks him out with a tranquilizer and a hypo spray and takes him. And he wakes up in her house on Kronos and meets her advisor. And,
I love how casual that is. Is like knocks him out, gets him all the way to Kronos.
yeah.
Kronos isn't like Kronos is across the like Alpha Quadrant.
They just kept on pumping him through with drugs.
They had to.
They just kept on.
That's not a short trip.
No.
Because Deep Space Nine's kind of like Earth is. If you're looking at a pizza pie,
Earth's in the middle.
If you cut it into fourths, and that bottom line, Earth's right in the middle. It's like on the border of the Alpha and Beta Quadrant. Deep Space Nine, if you're looking at it, is going to be to your left.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be over towards the other side of the galaxy
On the crust.
Yeah, it's going to be closer. It's going to be closer to the crust, and not all the way, but a lot further over than where Earth is.
Right.
And Kronos is in the Beta Quadrant on the other side of Earth, on the right side. So this is a long trip.
Now maybe they went through the stuffed crust with the cheese in the middle,
It's the Hyperloop technology that Elon Musk is working on.
or maybe they just
Stuffed
folded
crust.
it space. They just folded the pizza in half and they just walked across. There you go. There you go.
I was going to say, though, the tranquilizer thing looked like it, like one put him to sleep and the second one woke him up.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like to me.
Maybe it made him die. He was like technically dead,
Dead.
Shut down his organs for a couple days.
and then he pierced his organs.
Right.
So, so they find out that he is on Kronos, and that he is now, because Dagor died honorably, he is the one to be taking over the house, and he's to marry.
Dagor's the brother.
I'm sorry, not Dagor. Yeah, Kozak.
Kozak.
Kozak is the guy who died that he's supposedly killed, and so he gets all his belongings, including his wife. So now he's married to his wife.
Yes, she forcibly marries Quark.
I was going to say, I thought like
At
the
knife
whole
point.
point was that like if Kozak died honorably,
Yes.
then his wife couldn't take over the head of house.
Right.
Because then it would go to his brother.
Yeah, so
But if he didn't die honorably, then she could have petitioned to be head of house.
Yeah, the wife is Grelka.
Grelka.
Yeah.
She comes back later
Yeah, she does. But
in another fantastic episode.
But yeah, so they are wedded, and he is.
She kisses him and then spits immediately. Like, oh, I can't believe I did that.
Right.
Although I'm surprised she didn't bite him, because that's more like the Klingon way.
Yeah, it would be fun.
Considering there's no word for kiss in the Klingon language.
True.
Which we know from our friend Jen, the Klingon pop warrior, who
Yeah.
sings the song Hit Chop.
Hit chop.
Chop.
Yeah, it's great. It's awesome. Bite me, basically.
Yeah, it's Bite Me in Klingon.
Next, back to the B plot. Miles
excited
goes
about
to Cisco to talk about his problems with
I know
Keiko.
your dick's got to be way bigger than mine. Can you take care of my wife?
I've got the Irish curse, Captain. Or Commander. He's not Captain yet.
Could you look at my? Could you do me a solid?
This is more of a Bashir problem. So... Okay. Anyway, so...
You're terrible.
Yes, we are.
Jadzia and Kira are in the room as well, and they want to have some boys' time,
Boy time.
so boys can be boys.
So Miles asks him to be Cisco if he can use one of the cargo bays to make Arboretum for Keiko.
Because that's what she used to do on the Enterprise, manage the Arboretum.
Yeah, but she, he's like, yeah, sure, no problem. But then Bashir doesn't think this is going to help whatsoever.
Yeah, Bashir's like, yeah, it'll only help for 2 months, and then she'll be back upset again.
He's like, wait, you've been married how long? What? What do you know?
Well, I guess he just knows from his week-long relationships that flowers work for a day or two.
Yeah, exactly.
So he only has a reference for...
I always like how
Very
guys that are
short-term.
always dating all the time have all the advice on women. It's like, well, what do you know?
Right.
You're like, how would you know? You're always breaking up with girlfriends.
Right? All of your relationships have since failed.
Yeah. Like why do I
what's
listen?
this?
Why do we listen to you, Bashir?
How many dates has Jadzia gone on with you?
Well, Jadzia would actually be the smartest person to have in that room.
Yes.
Because she has all perspectives.
She's like, I've been a man, I've been a woman, multiple times, had kids with both.
I'm kind of a slug. You know. I got multiple points of view. So then we jump back to the A plot and the Klingon High Council, and Dagor is petitioning to the council to get Kozak's holding all his house and everything he owns.
Grelka comes in and they cause a big fit about there being a woman.
But then there's a bigger fit when they find out that Quark is...
That she married a Ferengi.
Well, they're like, oh, gross.
Although Galron seems pretty okay with it.
He's like, this is different.
Well, it is different. And do Ferengi also have two penises?
Don't know that. This gets proven to Holly in Discovery.
He mentioned it.
Yeah. This is redundant organs. I'm glad that's actually been addressed. Because you've made that joke forever. And then Discovery just pushed it over the line.
And Discovery just gave me more ammo for my fire.
And now there's no stopping Dave.
No. But I just thought it was the weirdest thing because Galron seemed to have no issues with this because Galron was like, well, she did the ritual and so it's cool, I guess. I mean, if... Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, at least Galron is at least kind of sticking to Klingon tradition.
Yeah.
Right.
That's kind of cool.
But then Dagor openly challenges Quark, and Galron, basically they're saying, well, they're going to have a face-off, basically, to find out, who will get proper ownership of the house. And was it like at... guns at noon or whatever.
The next day or something.
Yeah.
But I think that only came after Quark looked through all their...
that's when he goes through all his...
they go through all the transactions. He goes through all the transactions. Does it the Ferengi way.
Yeah, and when he approaches, the council, that's when he gets challenged.
Yes, right, exactly.
Yeah.
This is, probably the best part of the episode, where he's got them all on calculators, and, here's this ledger, and all the Klingons are, just no idea what's going on.
Yeah, if you go...
Throws it across the room.
Galron just tosses it.
This is another thing. You're like, these guys are all guys who are managing heads of their houses, heads of states, and they're like, I can't be bothered with this.
What did she call it? Dirty ledgers or
filthy ledgers.
Yeah.
Don't sully herself with filthy ledgers.
How do Klingons exist?
Yeah, they just hope it all works out.
Right.
But what Quark does find out is Dagor, the brother, has been slowly attacking them financially for years and just crippling them as a house. So, then he exposes it later to the High Council. And
because during that scene, that's where they get a witness, because that's when he declares that Quark didn't kill him honorably.
Right.
They find that it was an accident.
And Quark's like, the only one person that was there was
Rom. And
Rom walks in.
They bring Rom in.
Hello, brother.
Again, so he had to be kidnapped the day after Quark was kidnapped, because again, this is not a short trip from point A to point B.
We're in Warp 11. Well, next we find out that Quark is ready just to hightail out of there because he was been challenged to his death. And
I don't want to die. Don't make me feel guilty, Rom.
And Rom is making him feel guilty. He's like, you're just going to let her, lose everything to this guy. And
it's like, what do I care about a Klingon female?
I think she got in his head.
Yeah, and Rom. It's always funny how Quark is always ready to bail, but then he gets his conscience is pricked.
He gets guilted into things.
All right. Yeah, so next we get the High Council again, and Grelka is standing there by herself without her husband, and instead of going to the duel, but then Quark does show up and says, I'm ready for the duel, and then just drops his weapon.
He throws the weapon.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's great. He gives this big old long speech. He
says, I never had a chance.
It's like, this is an execution, so if it's going to be an execution...
Let's do it the way it should be done.
Yeah, just kill me. And I love how, Dagor is like, yeah, fuck it, I'll do it. And then Galron steps in, and it was Galron that stepped in, and Galron's like, if you're so low to kill a defenseless person, you have no honor.
Right. And then
so you must have, attacked your brother's house and...
Klingon logic.
Right.
Always makes sense.
Yeah.
And then they do the discommendation on him where they They do the Wonder Woman and the turnaround.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, they
Wonder Woman copied Klingons, guys.
Or Klingons copied Wonder Woman.
Oh, chicken or the egg.
Yeah, I don't know, but so it all works out basically for Grelka and Quark, and then he says, "Can we just get divorced?"
Yeah, because since it's a special dispensation, since he did die dishonorably, Gowron gives her head of household, and she's like, "What can I do for you, Quark?"
He's like, "Get a divorce."
I can give it to you right now.
And then she like slaps him.
Punches him. The sucker punches him.
Yeah. And he's like, "Could you warn me?"
Yells some Klingon words at him.
Yeah.
Right.
And then
And like spits at him.
Yeah.
And then she's nice again. And
she makes
I
out with
think
him.
divorce should be that easy.
right.
It should. It just be like I hit you in the face, and that's the end of it. You know?
Although one of the parts we didn't mention earlier is when they were looking at the financial records. It's one of my favorite parts.
Oh,
of the
that is a
episode.
great part.
Whenever like he finds out all this stuff, and she's like, "I'm so thankful to you, and this is why I'm not going to break every bone in your body for."
I'm going to allow you to remove your hand from my knee
from my thigh,
instead of ripping it off of your body and beating me with it.
Yeah.
which is a great...
And then I love Quark goes, "Let's go talk to the council."
Right. Yeah.
Just laughing. That is probably one of the best scenes in the whole episode. And then she gives him a kiss.
She gives him a kiss, yes, and then we go back to the B plot.
B plot. Miles tells Keiko that there's a 6 months astrobiology expedition
TFO
in
I don't want to see you moping around here one more day.
They're in the mountains of Bajor, and they need a chief botanist. And he feels like she should apply for the job. And
What about Molly? She can go with you. Mountains are great for children.
yeah, children
They just
never fall
right
down.
off.
They never fall down mountains.
And that's-
The hills are alive.
they just probably put her on a hover sled, like a hover crib.
Yeah,
It can never
hover crib.
fall.
She just kind of floats there. Oh, that'd be cool. They should make those.
Hover cribs.
That would be cool.
You can take your kids into the mountains with you, and they'll be just fine.
And
Put on a leash, just keep going.
there you go.
Yeah,
Hang there.
just clip it to a leash. The hover thing just comes.
They'll
out
have
with
just
you.
like those like
Tether it
little
to
clips
yourself.
they have for mountain climbers.
Yeah.
And they're all just hanging there.
so they don't float off too far. Yeah, like a balloon.
Absolutely. So, and then we have the last scene is Quark and Rom, and they're back at the bar. And
It's a little heartwarming moment.
yeah, Rom wants to hear his brother's story again.
Even
about
though
the
he was
Grego.
there and witnessed it firsthand.
Yeah, but this is good. He says, "I'm going to have to dock your pay for it." He goes, "I don't
I
care."
don't care. I just want to hear you tell the story, which is really sweet.
Yeah.
it's really sweet.
I love the relationship between Rom and Quark.
Right. And then it closes.
Happily ever after.
Dave, I know this is one of your favorite episodes of Deep Space Nine. Why do you like this? What do you have to say about this episode?
I love Quark. Quark is one of my favorite characters. He's probably like consistently the most solid character in Deep Space Nine from the first season to the last
He
season.
never really changes
He
his...
is always a joy to watch, except for Come Along Home.
Which one is that? The one with his mom, with Moogie?
No, I love Moogie. No, Come Along Home is the one where they're playing the game and Cisco.
Oh, that is the worst.
That is the worst episode, and
That's
that
terrible.
does have a Quark.
Is that season 2 or 1?
I think it's one.
Okay, yeah.
That's the one exception for Ferengi episodes that I can't stand. Move Along Home, I cannot stand that one.
That is a terrible episode.
But usually I love everything to do with Quark and his stuff. I love the Klingons. I love Grelka. I love how she shows up later, and I love how this episode sets up things, and Worf dotes on her like later, and then she's still like all like lovey-dovey on Quark, and Worf just can't stand it. Like this episode sets up just another really great episode. So that's part of the reason I love it. I love the Klingon politics. I love how Gowron wasn't too offended by her marrying a Ferengi.
Right.
There's lots of weird little things about this episode that made it great. Although rewatching it, I did not realize this was the so heavy on Keiko,
Yeah.
because that B plot was about half the episode.
It's a lot, yeah. And it's funny because there's a lot going on Quark's side, and it was even funny they would even try to throw in the B plot.
Yeah, because they could have done a lot more with the Klingon stuff.
You really
and
could
they
just
didn't.
go on without the Miles Keiko story.
Yeah, and I mean, I knew that this was a thing and that he tried to give her an arboretum and then she left, but I did not remember it was this episode. And so I guess, a little bit disappointed that it was so heavy on Keiko, but it's got O'Brien. I love O'Brien. So, I mean, like, 3 characters I love: O'Brien, Quark, and Rom. So, I mean, you can't really go wrong with this episode. I really, really enjoy it. How about you, Aaron?
Me? I like this episode. It's a lot of fun. I like seeing the politics of Klingons because they make no goddamn sense to me. And like I said, Ferengi's are just so much fun. They're just so much fun to watch, and our Shimmerin is just great.
He is second to none
when
it comes to Ferengi. And you sort of picked this one, Holly. What do you
Kind of, sort of.
I mean, you wanted to talk about Quark, and I just threw this one at you.
Yeah. I just, I didn't really watch. Like, I've never sat down and watched Deep Space Nine, like, all the way through. So it's like, I used to watch it with my parents, and it was on TV. And Quark is one of the characters I remember. Like, I remember Guinan and Quark. I know they're not from the same
but bartenders.
Series. Oh, hey, I didn't even get the correlation. Well,
no, you're bartenders.
So.
Yeah. Dave's our bartender.
Right. But yeah, I don't know. There's always just something really fun about Quark, and he's like,
except for moving,
got a lot of character. He's cynical, but he's also helpful, and
he's got a heart buried deep down there.
And
it shows up once in a while.
Yeah,
he's like the thief with a heart of gold.
Right. Yeah. So
or swindler. I mean, he's not really a thief, but he's
maybe heart of platinum. Latinum.
Heart of latinum.
Yeah.
Gold pressed latinum.
Yeah.
But
because Ferengi go back and forth on whether or not gold is valuable or not. Because the first time we see them, they're like, "Oh, your communicator's made of gold."
Yeah.
And they're like super into it. And then later, Quark is like, "Gold is worthless."
Right. Yeah, it's a fun episode, and it's great to see. I mean, Deep Space Nine. I mean, I know like Next Gen had a huge story arc with like Worf and being, the discommodation in the Klingon Empire and all that stuff, and there was a huge story arc, and so we got a whole view into the Klingon Empire and Klingon politics and just how they were. More so than ever. And then Deep Space Nine, we got so much more Klingons too. It was awesome. It was like tons of Klingons there, General Martok and stuff like that.
Yeah, I love General Martok. And we met J.G. Hertzler last year at the Nickel City Con. And that was such an amazing pleasure.
Yeah, he was awesome.
To get to talk with him.
Right.
He is just as awesome as his character. He's just as awesome as you think he'd be from seeing his character on the show.
Yeah. That character, Martok, is kind of him just without the makeup. So, yeah, he's great. So, but that's the cool thing is Deep Space Nine, we get so much Klingon culture thrown into it. So it's neat.
Yeah, and we get to see those episodes where they dress up as Klingons and they go to that thing. They try to figure out what's happening with the Dominion.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. They're all like pretending to be Klingon, which is fantastic.
Wasn't somebody like really an ugly Klingon?
O'Brien.
O'Brien was super ugly. Yeah. O'Brien's terrible looking Klingon.
And Sisko was actually a really good looking Klingon.
Yeah, but you ever notice they always get African Americans to play Klingons?
Yes.
Most of the time. I mean, once in a while you get a white guy, but most of the time it's.
But even when they are white guys, they do a ton of dark makeup on them.
Yeah, and usually the guys are taller in stature. Like even J.J. Hertzler is
he's a tall guy.
He's a big guy. He's like got to be over 6 foot.
Yeah.
I mean, he's older now, so maybe he's shrunk down a little bit, but he's a good sizable person. So
yeah,
they don't cast. Short Klingons.
They don't cast small guys as Klingons, which makes sense. And African guys do tend to be on the larger side, as far as stature goes.
Yeah.
So I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And Dagor, he was big. I mean, Quark was like exaggerating that he was a whole meter taller than him, but
I always thought that I always thought Ferengis were sort of like almost like the hobbits of.
Yeah, Armin Shimmerman's definitely short.
Yeah, they always get the shorter guys. So, anyways, yeah, fun episodes. Really enjoy it. Good stuff.
Absolutely.
Anything else we want to talk about this episode?
Man, it's sort of simple.
It is a very simple episode. There's really not much more than just Quark, accidentally gets, Klingon's murdered, and he gets abducted to Kronos and gets, put into Klingon politics.
So just so we can keep this conversation going a little bit,
Yeah.
Holly, today we watched the first episode of Star Trek Discovery with Holly, and because Star Trek Discovery is so Klingon based, I do want to mention that something very similar to House of Quark happens in the very first episode of Star Trek Discovery. Klingon sort of falls on his own sword.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
The same thing.
Oh yeah, the torchbearer.
Yeah, the torchbearer. Yeah, like she just like rams him, and then the sword goes through him instead of through her.
Yeah,
and I'm like, that's an interesting parallel.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
What do you think about that? It's like
But Klingons are always the dummies that always get killed. They're always like, for all their bark, they're like
their bite's not all that great.
Yeah, once in a while they get a good.
And you'd think they design their own armor to withstand at least their own weapons, especially if it's like a spacesuit.
No such luck.
Oh, yeah. And then, also just thinking about Star Trek Discovery and Klingons in general. And remember in the first episode of Discovery where the beacon goes off and it's that bright light and it's that horrible noise. And I'm like,
yeah,
that's typical Klingon engineering. It's not simple. It's not. It's just purely functional.
Hit you over the head. Yeah. Just kind of just like there's no real nuance. There's no nuance to it. It's just
It is just a club.
Like, jeez.
Yeah, they're going deaf. They're going blind.
Yeah.
They put the blinds down on the
blinds
window,
down. Oh.
and it's still like blinding light.
Yeah,
I was like, there's no subtlety to anything Klingon.
I'm surprised that no one they didn't do anything about ruptured eardrums or anything like that.
They should have.
Yeah,
they should have for sure.
If it was so bad and it was such a strong beacon,
yeah.
I don't know, it just seems
people
weird that they
go blind. They're like,
their shields are up to 100%, and it's still nothing has changed. So it's just crazy.
And what are the Klingons inside the ship? Aren't they going like, my ears?
Maybe it's like pain sticks. They just have to grin and bear it.
Yeah, this is just test.
Do Klingon ships even have lots of windows?
Not many.
The sarcophagus ship does have a big window in the front.
Yeah,
theirs does, but
the traditional D7 had some windows, and
but there's no traditional ships in Discovery at all.
No, I know,
except for the Bird of Prey, kind of.
Yeah,
it was just curious because if you don't have a lot of windows, you better hear that. Hear the beacon rather than see.
Yeah, see the beacon. Yeah, I know. What's that?
Well, I mean, it's sitting transmissions. So the Klingons do answer it at the end of the episode because they all jump in.
Yeah, right.
So synchronized too, which was kind of amazing.
How they all do at once? Yeah, no,
they're like synchronized swimmers, but in space.
It reminded me of the Death Eaters and the Dark Mark in Harry Potter.
All right.
You blast the mark and then everybody shows up.
They all show up.
It's teleport in.
Hey!
Got that message.
Right.
But it's just great because just comparing the first episode to House of Quark, especially when it comes to Klingon language, they did use. I know when we had Jen on and we talked about.
Especially Deep Space Nine, she said sometimes they did not use real Klingon.
Yeah. In this episode, they did use real Klingon in House of Quark because they did the Choi Chu. Which is the beam me up thing, because they said that in Star Trek 3. So I recognize that. They did say Qapla'. They didn't say it correctly, but they said Qapla'. So I mean, that's success. And they said one or two other words I think were legit Klingon.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, that's great. But then you go to Discovery, and then you've got people who are trained to speak Klingon phonetically correct.
It's
so
nuts.
Night and day difference.
Yeah.
Hearing real Klingon versus people
and they're so they have the makeup and the teeth, and so it's a real bizarre hearing them say it because they're like,
yeah. And I feel I really want to watch, at least with the Discovery, I really want to rewatch the Klingon scenes because I want to know what they're saying, and then I actually want to see
what's happening.
Because that's my thing with reading.
Yeah, I know.
I never get to see the picture.
And the Klingon ship is so intricate. It's one of the most interesting sets in Discovery.
And there are so many physical tells that actors have to do. They can tell you a million things with their eyebrow twitching, and if you're reading, you can't really pick up on that. So I was like, I'm gonna have to watch this 7 times.
Yeah, Yeah, I actually watch most of my stuff. I put subtitles on anyways. Mostly because like when I watch TV or something like that, I have it because the kids won't hear it.
Yeah.
So it won't be too loud. So I can pick up stuff. So it's funny because a lot of times I'm reading ahead before they deliver the lines and I'm not paying attention to the action as much as, or even the acting as much. I'm like reading.
Right.
So
Yeah.
kind of pulls the joy out of it a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
But also, I always know exactly what they say because a lot of times I'm like, what? What they say? What? I'm like an old man.
Yeah, I get that way too. I have a hard time hearing things sometimes.
Like, what?
All the headphones I wear.
What did she say to him? She said that she can never be with him again. What? I'm terrible. Grelka,
don't leave me. Don't leave me, Grelka.
Was Grelka? Was she play any other parts?
The actress? I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I didn't look her up.
Yeah, I didn't either. I didn't know if she played anything else. We'll have to look it up later on. Grelka. You can look it up.
Yeah, look it up. 43 minutes. Wow, we like blew through this.
There's not a lot to talk about in this episode.
House of Quark is really simple. It's not like a deep episode where there's lots of philosophical things to like get into.
Yeah, just kind of like...
it's just kind of there. It's just a fun episode, and that happens sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, like fluffy episodes. It's not like
it's more fun to watch than anything.
Yeah, there's no like heavy-handed like political message really in it, or
there's no morals.
I mean, yeah, it's just
really, other than Quark shouldn't have shot his mouth off.
Yeah.
Well, actually, but if he did, he would have been killed.
Yeah,
because his brother would have avenged his death.
So lying can save your life.
Lying saves your life sometimes. Who knew?
Well, the actress who plays Grelka, her name is Mary Kay Adams, and she is a white woman.
She's a white woman.
Yep.
Does she play any other parts in Star Trek?
I don't think so.
Other than Grelka?
No, she's not credited as anything but Grelka, at least through Star Trek.
Good find. But I mean, she does play Grelka twice.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Man, we should have watched that other episode too. We'll get to it one day.
Someday. Exactly. Grelka. Sing about Grelka.
No one but Grelka can come to me.
Grilled cheese made by Grelka.
Grilled gach.
Grilled gross.
Although Klingon don't like cooking their food, they like eating it raw.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, which is kind of funny because in episode 4 of Discovery, it looks like the drumstick that Lorel eats is cooked. Probably because the actress didn't want to die.
Yeah. She didn't want to get salmonella. She's like, wah. Really throws herself into the part. Greasy. All right, shall we wrap this up, Dave?
Yeah, I think we'll wrap it up. It's a short episode. Our first time back in 2 weeks. It's been fun. House of Quark's fun. Unfortunately, there just isn't a lot to it. There's no...
It's a fun episode.
It's a fun episode to watch, and I encourage everyone who's listening, if you haven't seen this episode in a while, and if you're one of those people that don't hate the Ferengi, give it a shot. If you hate the Ferengi,
or if you hate the
I can't.
Ferengi, you get to see a different side of Quark.
Yeah, actually, I'm not a bit like Dave really likes the Ferengi. I always kind of hate the Ferengi, but this is fun to watch. This is hilarious to see. The fish out of water kind of episode.
Oh, so even if you don't like Ferengi, from a Ferengi hater to a Ferengi lover, this is a universally enjoyed episode. So yeah, if you guys haven't seen it, check it out. We implore you, check it out. It's fun. It's Deep Space Nine. It's hard to go wrong with Deep Space Nine once you get past the second season.
With all the, the girl power stuff going on right now, it's a good episode for that.
Oh yeah, it's strong female character. Very strong female character. Right. I mean, like that's about as badass as you can get.
Right.
Yeah.
Abducting men, forcing them to marry you at knife point, and getting them to fix your house
Not that
for
we're
you.
recommending this.
But girls, if you're looking for a man, you know what to do.
You just gotta get that shit done.
Take him by knife point. Give him a roofie.
Give them a roofie. Take them far away from their home.
Just beware, the divorce is not that simple in real life.
You can't just punch them and knock them out.
Those drive-through marriage things in Vegas are legally binding. And divorce is not as simple as it was in that episode.
Right.
If only it were.
Hey, exactly. Save a lot of grief to people.
I wonder if there was no prenup, so he doesn't get anything.
No, that's cool. I'm sure he's all right with that. Just need to get away from that nonsense.
Just get away from Kronos. Get back to his bar.
Just get me out of here. Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good point. The girl power thing. It's a great written female character.
Yeah, she's cool.
And the thing is, let's get into this for a minute, since we're still under the hour point at this time. Strong female characters. You haven't seen much of.
That's another tie to Discovery. I take it. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't gotten too far into Discovery yet, but I mean, like, generally Star Trek has a really bad time at writing strong female characters. Like, I like Michael Burnham, but I don't think she's as strong as she should be, and I feel the same way for Janeway. You know, she's supposed to be written as like this badass strong female character, but she just comes off as bitchy.
Janeway's problem is purely this: they held back on her too much to make her too conservative, and then you didn't warm up to her. Probably till later you started getting, like, later seasons, you started feeling closer, or like you understood her maybe a little more, or something. Like, I don't know exactly.
She was too off-puttish from her crew. Like, in Picard held them at arm's length, but it didn't feel as far as how Janeway did.
Here's my issue with, especially, well, that was obviously 90s, and in the Michael Burnham, I think there's two different philosophies going on for Discovery and for Voyager, especially. One, Voyager, they wanted to make her as strong character as they possibly could, but then they left out the human side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think they softened her as time goes on. Like, she slowly got more humanized, and more and more and more. And she is a fantastic
Kate Mulgrew.
Yeah, she's a fantastic actress.
She's amazing. I mean, I've said this before. I never fault Kate Mulgrew. I feel like it's always the right.
The writers, I think, shortchanged her a lot. Now, for Michael Burnham's character, I think they wanted to show a damaged person who is up against something that she can't control, and I think that has to do with our society today, what they think people are looking for. I'm not entirely certain about that, but where technically you should be seeing a person you're in a utopian society, technically.
Yeah.
And you should be living to the full height of your being, if everything goes right. So, I don't think I think that's how they wrote her, as someone who's had some bad shit thrown at her.
Yeah, but I mean, there's that, but also some of her lines are just awful. And if there was if the actress wasn't Sonequa Martin Green, and if she was like more like a nobody, the character would be damaged even worse because of line delivery. Because some of those lines I was still cringing at that Sonequa was saying, because they were just
like, what lines are you? I mean, is there anything specific you're thinking?
Almost every single time where she's just saying like 15 or 20 different emotions back to back.
Emotions?
Yeah, she's like, oh, I feel happy, but then I feel sad, and then this, and then that, and then...
Well, because she's walled herself off from
I know. I mean, it's the Vulcan thing, but those lines are still clunky. They're weird, unnatural lines.
I do think some of Discovery's dialogue is a little weird here and there. It's not terrible. By
No. But I just mean some of her lines specifically are kind of on the harder side.
I do feel like her character is almost too hard. They tried to write it too hard. They were trying too hard when they wrote her.
Yeah.
And I think they should have given her a little more breathing room and let her be a little more imperfect. And I don't know.
Yeah, but it's just interesting. Like when they give a female character make her a main character in a show like Janeway or like Michael Burnham, they have all these flaws, but then you get these one-off characters like Grelka. She's a badass woman, strong female character. She's amazing. I love everything about Grelka.
Maybe because she's two-dimensional in this, though. Okay, let me then just switch gears here. Holly, you're the woman of the group.
Okay.
I mean, how do you feel? I mean, obviously you can't really say as much about Michael Burnham's character because...
You only seen the first episode.
You haven't seen one episode, but I mean, maybe you can just take a quick impression, but then... Janeway, obviously you grew up on Voyager. So, I mean, I think you've watched almost all of Voyager, haven't you?
Not really.
But you've seen a lot.
But yeah, recently I have been watching more of Voyager rather than like Next Generation.
What is your take when you see Janeway compared to like a Patrick Stewart, Picard, or that kind of thing, or even Cisco? Cisco is a bad example, but Cisco is very, very imperfect.
Yes.
I mean, I liked Janeway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you feel like the beginning seasons she was too stiff, or do you think you were all right with that?
No, I'm all right with that because when I'm at work, I am very get done,
get things done,
get in, get out, get done.
Right.
So to me, it didn't feel odd, but maybe that's because I am maybe similar to her in that way.
Do you see yourself becoming captain soon?
Well, no. Although I was called captain.
Stranded somewhere.
Captain in high school, I was called captain.
Okay, how about this? And there's two dynamics here. One, us being men,
yes,
we see women in a different light.
Yes.
So we see women as either potential mates or nurturers. One or two. Very often men have a hard time like seeing the difference between a leader or just as a associate. Mm-hmm. So you a lot of men have issues with that, so they can't separate the two. It's like either you're you're like a mother nurturer figure, like a family figure, or you're a potential mate. So they can't figure out that anything could happen in between. So maybe that's why sometimes we watch Janeway and we're like, she's too robotic.
So cold and
she's robotic, so we don't see. But see.
But, I mean, I also want to point out here that, like also one-off characters like that lady in Lower Decks that goes on that suicide mission that was supposed to be okay, but ended up still being a suicide mission and she died.
Right.
Like, she was a extremely well-written character.
But again, you're talking...
to the point where, like, like, I cry when I watch that episode.
But here's the other thing is that when you're talking about that character and you're talking about, what's her name, Grelka, sorry. That you're seeing somebody who's a very quick character. Yeah. It's almost a sketch.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So you're not seeing a full, like, when you see Janeway, you have, like 7 seasons or whatever it is. You have a full width of a lot of her interactions with characters. So it's much different. So my feeling more than anything is that a quick sketch you can become attached to, or hate, or whatever,
depending on like the script. Like
the script.
What
if it's well written enough, you can say, "Well, this is a fascinating character, and I really like this character. I wish I saw more of that character, but she died, or she was only in 2 episodes, or whatever." Or Janeway, we see a lot of, and we're just like, eh. But you walk away from it, and here's the other side of it for a woman. So that's the one, like where we're seeing the nurture and the potential mate, which turns off a lot of guys if it's neither. Women go into the world and they are faced with that and perverts and all sorts of assholes. People have their own issues with a woman being in charge or woman, and so there's lots of issues going on. So they have to put on that persona of I'm pure business and I'm not going to talk to you about my personal life, or I'm not going to get too friendly with you. I have to just get my job done.
Yeah, but the thing is, Picard was like that too, because he didn't even play poker with the crew until the All Good Things.
Yes.
But
now,
at the same time, even though he did hold them at arm's length, he still felt closer with his crew.
But here's the thing.
Janeway.
Here's the thing. I think what happened with Picard or Patrick Stewart, I think there's 2 things. I mean, both of them are amazing actors, Patrick Stewart and Kate Mulgrew. But the first season for Picard, maybe even second season, he's very stiff. Yeah. And then you start getting he likes archaeology and he likes this and he likes that. So you're kind of like, you get more acclimated to him. I don't think you get a lot of information on Janeway for a long time.
Coffee black.
Yeah, coffee black. Yeah, it's like, okay,
there's coffee in that nebula.
Well, I mean, yeah, but you knew that he liked
tea or Earl Grey.
Yeah,
but I just can't think of anything else Janeway likes other than controlling Helmet Act and in the hologram, the Fairhaven episodes, where she's like, oh, I'm going to make him exactly how he's perfect, except for he's nothing about what I want. So I'm going to take out all the things I don't like and make him my perfect man.
Yeah.
And then she also likes doing Anne of Green Gables or whatever in the holodeck program. Like I don't think we ever learned much about her.
Other than she's married.
Right.
No, she was engaged.
Oh, engaged. I'm sorry. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of things at play there that's more dynamics than we really are giving proper credit to. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think my feeling has always been Janeway was written too stiff, and then
written too stiff, and like they just didn't give her much character. Like they
put no meat on her bones afterward. Like there should have been far more back history in her.
Like she was like the scientist captain.
Well, look at Picard when he goes back to after Best of Both Worlds when he goes to his brother's place.
Fantastic episode.
It's a heartbreaking and it's so good, and you're like, oh, this is where he's from, and this is why he's got problems with his brother. He's got these emotional issues that he's going through. So we never got anything quite that strong from Janeway. So.
But the thing is, most other characters that we got to learn more about.
They focused a lot on the crew,
Yeah, I mean, Star Trek's always been an ensemble show. I mean, I don't, except for TOS and now Discovery.
Yeah.
TOS, Kirk was very clearly the main character, and then you had two strong supporting characters, and then you had a bunch of C characters.
Right.
The Next Gen was very much an ensemble show.
Right, and you would have a Troy, you'd have a Data show. Yeah.
And even season 7 becomes the Worf show. I mean, Worf gets so many episodes just for him in season 7. It's crazy. So, Next Gen is an ensemble show. DS9 is an ensemble show. Voyager's an ensemble show. And for some reason, they're trying to shoehorn in Michael Burnham as this main character person. And I'm like, there's so many characters in Discovery that look interesting, and we don't learn anything about them in the first season.
Right.
So many characters, and it's just like they're not even characters. They're just like silhouettes of people that just are taking up seats.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't even call them characters because we don't know anything about them except for maybe their name.
Yeah.
Well, that might also go back to what Aaron said earlier about trying to give viewers what they want, and maybe with life today and how social media is just like attacking people from all different directions, maybe they just feel like people will focus better on just one or two people instead of
it might be the case.
Group.
That might be the case, and it obviously they're trying to get the certain. I mean, so we're only season 1. I mean, we're only 13 episodes in, so we don't really know if we're going to get more characters and what else we're going to get. So we don't know.
Yeah.
So, but I did feel that Michael Burnham's character, while there's a lot of interesting things about her, that she is not as fascinating as some of the other characters.
Oh, no.
Stamets is really interesting.
Although I'm scared he's not going to be interesting anymore.
Well, we don't know.
Second season, unless they make him go back in. But
Lorca's interesting. What's her name?
Tilly.
Tilly's great. So, I mean, and these are characters you haven't quite met yet, so it's going to be great when you get into them, because you're going to be like, oh, these are fun characters. Yeah, I guess it's more of, maybe she's like the linchpin, and I just hope that she lives to her full potential, that they kind of like, ticket her as. Like, she's like this great character. And she does prove herself time and time again.
Sure.
She basically makes one monumental mistake.
And then spends the whole rest of the show trying to fix it.
Lamenting about it.
And it's good. I mean, it's a character arc, but I just like the ensemble so much better because you get different POV episodes. Mm-hmm. And I just wish they would do more of that instead of shoehorning her in as the main character.
Well, I think you were going to ask, like, how I got what my first impression of her was from that first episode.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting that she has, like, PTSD, and she's working through those issues because, and it's not just PTSD that she's working through, but, she's like, this is how I was raised, who am I, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, that's kind of a big issue today.
Right.
So, absolutely. I mean, I think that's important. And, Star Trek was a good family show because they touched on important issues of the day.
Without batting you on the head with it. They just kind of like made you think about it. So,
my family, we would discuss it at the end. So Holly, do you understand what that was? Or like, so I think that they've always done that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Unfortunately, the only big thing about Discovery is it's really not quite a family show.
Yeah.
After you've seen it, you'll see it's pretty R-rated.
Gotcha.
So that's actually one of my sad points about Discovery is that I can't watch it with my kids. It's really not appropriate for them. So
yeah, that's a big point of contention. But I mean, I think
it can't. But my issue too is it can't all be adult thing. It can't all be Game of Thrones. Mm-hmm. I don't mind that there are Game of Thrones shows out there. I enjoy all that stuff, but kids should have something that they can say, like watch with their parents. Mm-hmm. Parents can enjoy it, and so can their kids.
Right.
So.
Well, there's still 700 episodes you can watch with your kids.
No, there is for sure. Yeah.
So I mean, I don't mind that Discovery is R-rated. I think it's interesting to have R-rated Star Trek because we've never had that before.
Yeah. No, I'm intrigued. I mean, it's not over the top. I mean, there's a couple scenes that are like, like especially some of the torture scenes you see later.
Yeah.
You're like, whoa, but yeah. Besides that,
yeah, it's not bad. But it's just an interesting kind of look because I think Star Trek is still struggling with writing strong female characters as when they're leads, but when they're one-offs, they do a pretty good job. But maybe it's just because you don't have to develop them any further. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a weird thing because I don't think any other series I ever can say that they have a hard time writing female characters. Game of Thrones, tons of great female characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I'm saying like most main female Star Trek characters aren't great. I mean, Troy isn't all that well written.
Yeah,
Crusher has her bad points. Pulaski was god awful.
Yeah, Pulaski was terrible. Tasha Yar was
was really bad.
Obviously, throwaway. Throw it into a black pit. Well, but then later on, Kira is
Kira does get better as the show goes
Kira
on.
When I first met her,
Kira's pretty cool, but she's a little grating, but that's kind of her character, anyways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dax should have been way more interesting than she was.
Dax should be awesome, but she's just not like you're like Dax.
Maybe Terry Farrell just didn't have but she wasn't. That's also. I can't blame it on just her acting because I feel like even when she did get episodes thrown to her, that they just weren't that good. Like they didn't know how to write for her. I just feel like Star Trek has a hard time writing for their main female characters, and that's discouraging to me.
Maybe it's mostly men writing.
It is, but there's one main female lead writer on Discovery at least.
Yeah, no, I know that. I mean, but
the previous shows, I don't know if there was a main female lead in the writers' room. I don't know. Yeah. But
I don't know. I think Janeway was a product of the 90s in a sort of way that women had been coming up from like the 60s, 70s of, like burn your bra and, do whatever, buck the system. And then they integrate into the system and they're, the women in the workplace kind of. And that was, 90s, it was more, I'm not going to say it was easier for women, but they were more into like the workplace more often. You saw them like in offices and stuff like that.
Right.
But they were still up against a lot. So maybe they needed that example of a woman to be that strong, almost cold character,
yeah. By that time, they were, like you said, integrated, but they weren't in leadership roles,
right?
So.
And how do you become a leader in a organization or starship, and do it convincingly without getting people, thinking like, oh, she's weak because she's a woman, or oh, she's talking about her feelings now, or like all sorts of like cliches, that get thrown at you. So maybe that's why they did that. I do think Janeway sort of suffers because we don't get to know her personally as well.
I definitely agree. We don't get to know her very well. Most of the crew we get to know more personally than she does.
But here's one other thing about women, and I'm going to generalize, of course, but women often when they're tasked with something, they are extremely on focus and they almost sometimes obsess on things.
I'm an overanalyzer.
Yeah, they obsess on it. It's like, okay, so if they have an issue, they're going to find all the aspects. They're going to do all the research, and Janeway is very much like that. Where a guy will say, like, I'm going to work on this, but I'm going to knock off and watch the game for a few hours or something like that. It's
hey, how'd you figure that out? I just tried this and it worked.
Yeah,
so I'm good.
Yeah. Guys work on a different aspect. Like sometimes the guys need that downtime where women definitely focus on things until the task is complete. sometimes also it drives them nuts because they are focusing on it so much. So Janeway reminds me a little bit of that. She just focuses on a topic or the problem to exhaustion.
Right.
Yeah.
Which again is another mirror to myself. So I guess maybe
so maybe
another
it's
reason
like,
why I like
Janeway,
her.
thumbs up. I never hated Janeway. I thought that she was just too stiff in the beginning. I thought she got looser and more interesting as time went on.
But she did break the Prime Directive the most.
She did. Yes. Yeah, she did. Yeah, our Prime Directive series. So.
Yeah, that was the last thing we did. Prime Directive. Mm-hmm. Lots of Prime Directive.
Many Prime Directives. 5 episodes of
Yeah.
Prime Directive. Anyways, so...
I don't know. I think that was a fun conversation to get into since we brought up that Grelka was a strong female character.
She was awesome.
She's a cool character. Right,
Yeah.
right. But too shortly written. You don't get enough on her.
I thought it was really cool that, you got to see a bravery from this Ferengi, but then you also saw like a vulnerability from a Klingon.
Right. Yeah.
It was really cool that
They both went on a limb that they would normally not do.
Right.
Yeah.
She actually ended up caring for him as a being, but not
Yeah, exactly.
So it was cool.
Yeah. No, it is cool. And it's nice to, when these sea characters, stretch out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and grow. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And Quark always, like we said, he's got that heart of gold, but it's buried deep down there.
Very, very deep.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But I didn't really as for 7 of 9, like as you got to know her more, like as they continue to write for her, I liked her less and less.
Yeah.
I think that's weird.
She gets more human. And then she gets
like
more,
the
not even
intrigue is
human, but
less like
yeah.
Well, she did become like the focus of the show when she came on the show. So like half the episodes for the rest of the run are written for her.
Right.
So they do like flesh her out to the nth degree. But I didn't start hating her until she started dating Chakotay, and then it became insufferable because it's such an unrealistic relationship.
Because you hate Chakotay.
I cannot stand that man. I can't stand Robert Beltran. I can't stand the way he acts. I can't stand the character. I can't stand that they made up all this fake Indian stuff when they had like actual real Indian stuff they could have drawn from. It was just garbage. And every single time he spoke to 7 of 9, he was super condescending and spiteful. And all of a sudden he dares the producer, hey, look, we should put us together because I haven't had anyone to date on the show. And they put them together over a stupid dare offset. It's nothing about that was natural. It was disgusting.
Yeah. Well,
she should have ended up with the doctor. That's all I'm saying. 7 Dr. Truther.
Or Harry Kim.
That was just going to be rough sex. That wasn't going to be anything. Oh.
Boy.
All right. Well, on that note, let's wrap this baby up.
Let's wrap this burrito up. Stick it in their pants.
No, don't do that.
I'm not putting any burritos in my pants.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Hot sauce everywhere.
Oh. Now cool that down with some sour cream.
Oh boy.
Oh, some soothing sour cream.
All right.
On that burn.
Well, Dave.
If you were hungry, you might not be.
Nah, yeah. We ruined like hundreds of people's lunches right now.
Hope you're not eating this on lunch break.
Right.
Well, thank you everyone for listening. You can find this show online at synthaholics.com. You can email us at synthaholics@yahoo.com. You can join us on the Facebook group for all sorts of fun discussions. And, Holly's got an announcement for the Facebook group page.
Yeah, it's going to be super fun. So I have a whole booklet of Star Trek Mad Libs, and we thought it'd be fun to challenge you guys to get a little interactive with us, and we're going to have you guys pick the adjectives and the verbs and stuff, and we'll fill them in and
we'll
and
read
them.
Read
It's
it for
gonna
our
be
next
great.
episode.
It's going to be great. So
Yeah,
look
yeah.
for that on the Facebook page.
Yeah, the Facebook group for Synthaholics. Yeah,
Yes.
and it'll be under Holly Michelle Vine. She'll be posting that. Woo! So that's fun stuff going on for that. Rate us and review us on iTunes. Many stars is great. If you've got any comments on House of Quark and any other episodes, you can email us at synthaholics@yahoo.com.
Right. And if you can, please go to our Patreon.com/Synthaholics. Throw some money our way to keep the big wheel of podcasting rolling, so we can keep on producing and
Turn.
Exactly. And if you know somebody that might like Star Trek, like Quark, let them know about Synthaholics. Let them know about that we exist. Word of mouth is a wonderful way to support the show and let people know that we are here. We are here. We are here.
We are here for you. We're on iTunes and Stitcher and all sorts of places. If you own a Tesla, we're even on that platform. The only I can't remember what their podcast platform is called, but if you drive a Tesla, we are there.
Nice.
For you guys.
Yeah, we should put that on the Tesla like Reddit or something like that. We can find us there.
You can find us.
Go.
Absolutely. Well, personally, I'm David_J_Duncan. Aaron is at Blackbird 2004. Mm-hmm. And the show's at Synthaholic Duo, all on Twitter. Holly, where can we find you on the onlines?
On the onlines, I'm Lunar Thistle on Twitter. And I'm on Facebook.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that's all I do. I'm
Artful
on like
Gremlins?
Instagram and stuff.
I mean, Nerdynomicon.
Yeah, I throw some videos up on the Nerdynomicon YouTube page from time to time.
YouTube.com/Nerdynomicon. And I know I haven't put out a video in a little while. Also, because life. Oh, wait, no.
No, it's legal issues.
Legal issues.
Legal issues.
reasons.
There's been legal reasons, and videos have been pulled also due to legal reasons, apparently.
Right.
So,
Stop pulling your pants down. You'll be all right.
I know. I just can't help but show off.
Those burritos.
It's the burritos. Hot sauce.
I'm just shaking my burrito at the camera. And sour cream just starts flying everywhere.
Oh.
It just, I don't know. It just, things happen. And
YouTube does not approve.
No.
YouTube doesn't approve. But yeah, things are coming once legal reasons start to settle down. So there will be more YouTube content coming once my life gets smoother.
Yes.
He's got to get out of the minefield right now. He's got to get away from the debris.
It'll be, yeah.
So yeah, stuff is coming, but there's still lots of drink videos on there you can watch and enjoy.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Our podcast will be on there as well. And then our sister channel, the Nerdynomicon, they've got stuff. They're producing stuff.
Yeah, all the time.
A little bit more than we are right now. So
right.
Subscribe to them as well.
Yep.
Cool.
Well, thank you all so much for listening. We missed you guys, so we hope you missed us as well.
We're back.
We're back, Jack.
We only missed 1 week.
I know, but it feels like longer.
Yes, well, that's because you've had a very
At least
long
it hasn't
2
been
weeks.
a year.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And it's been a year for Holly, but she'll be back with us for the next several weeks at least, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so live long and prosper, one and all. Thanks for listening.
Mars. Well, McCoy, my boy, come mix me a drink. Before the night's over, I'll puke in the sink, and we'll cry till we laugh, and we'll both shit our pants. You're the best drinking friend I ever had.
All right. This is the House of Quark. Are you ready for the House of Quark?
The hearse of Kirk.
The hearse of Kirk. Keiko, my wife. Please, Keiko, my wife.
Wife of my loins.
Wife of my loins? What? Tenderloins. Ooh.
It's like Craster.
Ooh, leave the tenderloins alone.
Craster had all the wives of his loins.
Who?
Craster? Game of Thrones, the guy that would be on the wall, the wilding guy who fucked all his daughters and made them
Yeah,
wives.
it's gross.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah. It just brings a smile to my face.
Maybe that he's dead.
He's dead.
Dead. He dead, Jim.
He's dead. All right, shall we do this thing that we do? That thing you
Doing
do.
that thing you do.
That thing you do so well.
That thing you do so well. Okay.